The reservation at Lumiere was impossible to get. 3-month waitlist, Michelin 2-star, the kind of place where celebrities ate in private dining rooms and tech CEOs proposed to supermodels. My brother Daniel had called in favors to secure a table for 8 on Dad's birthday. Only the best for the old man, Daniel said as we walked through the marble foyer. He'd worn his Brioni suit for the occasion, the one he bought after his promotion to partner at his law firm. The hostess led us through the main dining room, all dim lighting and velvet chairs, to a semi-private alcove with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "This is gorgeous," my sister Isabel breathed. Her husband Marcus was already examining the wine list, his eyes widening at the prices. Dad took the head of the table, Mom beside him. Daniel and his wife Claire sat to Dad's right. Isabel and Marcus to his left. That left me at the far end, next to my cousin Nina, who'd been invited as a buffer. "Sophia." Dad called down the table. "You made it. We were worried you'd cancel again." "Wouldn't miss your birthday, Dad." "Well, glad your schedule could accommodate us. What is it you're doing these days?" "Still that online thing." "Digital marketing consulting," I said for the 100th time. Daniel snorted. "Social media posting. Very cutting edge." "It pays the bills," I said mildly. "Does it though?" Claire chimed in. "Because I saw your car in the parking garage. That Toyota must be, what, 10 years old?" 11. "Still runs great." Mom frowned. "Sweetheart, we could help you lease something newer. It's not safe driving around in that old thing." "I appreciate it, but I'm fine." The sommelier appeared. A young woman named Gabrielle, whom I recognized but who clearly didn't recognize me in my simple black dress. "Good evening," she said warmly. "May I suggest our wine pairing for this evening? We have an exceptional 2015 Chateau Margaux that would complement." "The Margaux," Marcus interrupted. "How much?" $800 per bottle, sir." His face paled. "Maybe just the house wine." Daniel waved a hand. "This is Dad's birthday. We're doing it right. Bring 2 bottles of the Margaux and a bottle of the Cristal champagne to start." "Excellent choice, sir." After Gabrielle left, Isabel leaned over. "Daniel, that's going to be expensive." "We'll split it," Daniel said confidently. 8 ways. Totally reasonable. Dad ordered the Wagyu beef tasting menu. Mom chose the Dover sole. Daniel and Claire both ordered the chef's tasting with wine pairings. Marcus and Isabel went for the prix fixe menu. When the server reached me, I ordered the simplest entree on the menu, the roasted chicken. "Just the chicken?" Mom asked. "Sophia, you should try something special. This isn't a place you can afford to come to often. The chicken looks good." "She's watching her budget," Claire said sympathetically. "Smart." Nina, beside me, ordered the salmon and gave me a look that said, "I'm sorry you have to deal with this." The champagne arrived. Daniel made a toast about family, success, and Dad's 60 years of wisdom. Everyone clinked glasses. The meal progressed in courses. Each dish was a work of art. Foams and gels and microgreens arranged like paintings. The Wagyu beef melted like butter. The Dover sole came with caviar. The wine flowed freely. Daniel held court, talking about his latest case, a corporate merger worth $200 million. Claire discussed their upcoming trip to the Maldives. Isabel showed everyone photos of their new house in the suburbs. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, Marcus said proudly. "We're stretched thin financially, but it's an investment." Mom beamed. "You're all doing so well. Building lives, careers, families." Her eyes drifted to me. The unspoken comparison hung in the air. "And Sophia," Dad said, clearly trying to be inclusive, "how's the apartment? Still in that building downtown?" "Still there. 1 bedroom, right? Studio actually. But it's got good light." Daniel's laugh was condescending. "A studio at 31. Sophia, maybe it's time to consider something more stable than freelancing." "I'm stable enough." "Are you?" "Because Claire's firm is hiring marketing coordinators. Entry level, but it's a foot in the door. Benefits, 401k, the works." "I'm good, thanks." "Pride won't pay for retirement," Dad said. "Daniel's just trying to help." The main courses arrived. My roasted chicken was perfectly cooked, simple and elegant. Around the table, everyone else's plates looked like abstract art installations. "This Wagyu is incredible," Dad announced. Probably the best steak I've ever had. $120 per portion, Daniel said. Worth every penny. Mom's Dover sole came with champagne beurre blanc. Claire's tasting menu included foie gras and truffle risotto. Even the side dishes, broccolini with almond butter, fingerling potatoes with caviar, were extravagant. Meanwhile, my roasted chicken sat modestly on its plate with roasted vegetables. Sophia's chicken looks nice, Isabel said, trying to be kind. It's delicious, I assured her. Dessert brought more champagne, a birthday cake the restaurant had prepared special, and a parade of petit fours and chocolate truffles. Finally the check arrived. Daniel picked it up, scanned it and whistled. Okay, we did some damage here. How much? Marcus asked nervously. $8,200. But that includes the tip. Daniel pulled out a calculator. Split 8 ways, that's $1,025 per person. Isabel choked on her water. Each. We ordered the good stuff, Daniel said unapologetically. This is what fine dining costs. Marcus looked sick. We didn't order the tasting menu. But you drank the wine, Claire pointed out. And had the champagne. We'll split it evenly, Dad declared. Fair is fair. Everyone contributes equally. Nina shifted uncomfortably. I only had the salmon and 1 glass of wine. Equal shares, Dad repeated firmly. That's how we do things in this family. No one gets special treatment. His eyes landed on me. That includes you, Sophia. I know money's tight, but you're part of this dinner. Everyone pays equal shares. I reached for my purse slowly. Equal shares. Got it. We can work out a payment plan if you need it, Daniel offered generously. I know $1,000 is probably tough on your budget. I'll manage. That's when Gabrielle the sommelier appeared at my elbow. She leaned in close, her voice barely a whisper. Ms. Laurent, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but your general manager needs you urgently. There's a situation with the kitchen staff. They don't realize your family is dining here tonight. Should we? She stopped, realizing the table had gone silent. Daniel's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Ms. Laurent. Gabrielle's face went pale. I apologize. I shouldn't have. It's fine, Gabrielle, I said calmly. What does Antoine need? The new sous chef didn't recognize you. He's asking why there's no owner's flag on this table. And the kitchen is confused about whether to comp certain items or owner's flag. Mom's voice was faint. Gabrielle looked at me desperately. I gave her a small nod. Ms. Laurent owns Lumière, she said quietly. Along with the entire Laurent restaurant group. I'm so sorry, I assumed you'd told your family. The silence was deafening. Daniel set down his fork very carefully. Sophia owns this restaurant? Not just this one, Gabrielle said, nervousness making her talkative. The whole group. Lumière, Bistro Colette, Mère et Terre, the Garden Room, all 6 locations. 6 restaurants, Isabel whispered. Dad's face had gone red. Sophia. What is she talking about? I looked at Gabrielle. Tell Antoine everything's fine. No owner treatment needed. And please bring the check total, the actual total including what was comped. Yes, ma'am. She fled. 8 pairs of eyes stared at me. You own this place, Daniel said flatly. I do. The Michelin-starred restaurant where I called in favors to get a reservation. That would be the one. How? Claire's voice cracked. How could you possibly? I started with a food truck 9 years ago. Saved everything, reinvested profits, learned the business from the ground up. Opened my first bistro 5 years ago. Acquired Lumière 3 years ago when the previous owner retired. Marcus was doing math on his phone. The Laurent Restaurant Group, I've heard of that. They did $23 million in revenue last year. $27 million, I corrected. We had a good fourth quarter. Mom's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, splashing onto the tablecloth. $27 million? In revenue, yes. Profit margins in fine dining are tight, but we do well. Nina started laughing. A shocked, delighted sound. This is amazing. Is it? Dad's voice was cold. You let us think you were struggling. Living in a studio apartment, driving an old car. I do live in a studio apartment. It's 1,800 square feet in the penthouse of a building I own, but technically it's one large room. And the Toyota is paid off and reliable. Why would I replace it? The budget comments, Isabel said weakly. We felt sorry for you. I know. Daniel's face was turning red. The job offer. Claire's firm. Entry-level marketing coordinator. Was genuinely kind, I said. Unnecessary but kind. You let me lecture you about financial stability while you own 6 restaurants? You seem to enjoy it. Gabrielle returned with a leather folder, setting it carefully in front of me. I opened it to show the table. The actual bill before comps. $12,400. I had the kitchen comp, Dad's Wagyu tasting, the birthday cake, and 2 bottles of wine. The $8,200 you saw was after my adjustments. You paid for part of dinner, Mom said numbly. Without telling us. Would you have accepted it if I had? Silence. Exactly. You would have refused, insisted on paying your share, made it awkward. This way, everyone enjoyed their meal. Dad's hands were shaking. The equal shares speech. I told you to pay like everyone else. You did. $1,025. I was going to make you pay $1,025 for a dinner at a restaurant you own. It would have been fine. I would have paid it. But the staff, good God, Sophia, the staff must think we're insane. The staff thinks you're guests who don't know who I am. Which is accurate. Claire found her voice. The 3-month waitlist. The impossible reservation. Daniel's assistant called 6 times, I said. Very persistent. I told my hostess to accommodate him. You knew we were coming? I knew someone named Daniel Laurent requested a table for his father's birthday. I assumed it was you. And you said nothing? I wanted to see how dinner would go. Nina was still grinning. Best birthday dinner ever. Is it? Dad's voice was harsh. My daughter owns this restaurant and let me sit here like a fool, ordering the most expensive items, talking about splitting bills. You're not a fool, I interrupted. You're my father having dinner with your family at a nice restaurant. That's all this was supposed to be. But the comments about your car, your apartment, your career were based on assumptions. I never corrected them. Isabel's eyes were wet. We patronized you. For years. You did. And you just let us? What was I supposed to do? Announce my net worth at every family dinner? Wave my tax returns around? You could have said something. Daniel's voice rose. Instead of letting us think you were barely scraping by. Would it have changed how you treated me? The question hung in the air. Or would you have just found other reasons to feel superior? Maybe criticized my choice of restaurants instead of cars? Judged my single status instead of my apartment size? No one answered. I stood up, smoothing my simple black dress. Gabrielle, please comp the entire meal. Put it on my house account. The whole $12,400? She asked. All of it. Including the wine Daniel ordered. Miss Laurent, that's very generous. It's my father's birthday. Consider it my gift. I looked around the table. Happy birthday, Dad. Dinner's on me. All of it. Not split 8 ways, not equal shares. Mine. Sophia, Mom started. I need to check in with Antoine about the kitchen situation. Enjoy your dessert wine. It's a 1997 Sauternes, very special. Gabrielle will bring it out shortly. I walked away from the table, feeling their stares follow me. In the kitchen, Antoine was plating desserts, his usual chaos of organized perfection. Chef, I said quietly. Everything okay? He looked up and immediately wiped his hands. Mademoiselle Laurent. Yes, I just realized. Table 7 is your family. It is. And we comped items without you authorizing. It's fine. Comp the entire meal. My father's birthday. His eyes widened. The whole table. But that's my restaurant, my rules. Antoine. The Wagyu tonight was perfect. Best we've served. His chest puffed with pride. Thank you, chef. I returned to the dining room 20 minutes later. The table was quieter now. The Sauternes had arrived. Everyone had that stunned look of people whose reality had fundamentally shifted. Sophia, Dad said as I approached. Sit. Please. I took my seat at the end of the table. We need to talk about this, Mom said. What's there to talk about? Everything. Isabel gestured helplessly. You own 6 restaurants. You're successful. You have money. And we've been treating you like someone you thought needed help, I finished. It's not the worst thing. It's mortifying, Claire said quietly. The things I said about your car. My car is old. You weren't wrong. But the context doesn't matter. You were trying to be helpful in your way. Daniel shook his head. You're being too gracious about this. Maybe. Or maybe I just understand that people make assumptions based on limited information. I let you have limited information. Why? Dad's voice was rough. Why hide this from us? I thought about it. Because I wanted to know who I was to you when I wasn't impressive. When I didn't have the fancy car or the big house or the corporate job title. I wanted to know if you'd love me anyway. Of course we love you. Mom's tears were flowing now. Do you? Or do you love the idea of me now that you know I'm successful by your standards? The table went quiet. I love my work, I continued. I love building something from nothing, creating spaces where people celebrate life's important moments. I don't need a big house or a new car to validate that. I just needed to know that you could accept me without those things. And we failed, Isabel whispered. You didn't fail. You're just learning who I actually am instead of who you assumed I was. Nina raised her wine glass. To Sophia, owner of the best restaurants in the city and the most patient woman in this family. Slowly, others raised their glasses. Dad's hand shook slightly. To Sophia, he said quietly. I'm sorry for the equal shares speech. I'm sorry too, Daniel added. For everything. Me too, Claire whispered. Mom just cried. We finished the sauternes in relative silence. As we left, the staff lined up to thank Dad for coming. A courtesy they extended to all VIP tables, but one that took on new meaning given the circumstances. In the parking garage, Daniel walked me to my Toyota. Sophia, he stopped looking at the 11-year-old car. You really could afford any car in the world. I could. But you choose this. I choose this. He laughed weakly. You're either the most grounded person I know or completely insane. Maybe both. The Laurent Restaurant Group. You built that yourself. From a food truck, yes. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago, but I'm saying it now. Thanks, Daniel. And I'm sorry. For being a condescending ass. Apology accepted. I drove home to my studio apartment, the penthouse with the skyline view, and poured myself a glass of wine. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. Asterisk, your mother wants to book the garden room for her birthday. I told her she needs to call and make a reservation like everyone else. Is that right? Asterisk. I smiled and typed back. Asterisk, that's exactly right. Tell her to try the spring menu. It's exceptional. Asterisk. She wants to pay. Asterisk, of course. Regular rates. Asterisk. Even for family. Asterisk, especially for family. That's how you know it's real. Asterisk. A moment later. Asterisk, your mother says to tell you the chicken tonight was perfectly cooked. And she's sorry. Asterisk. Asterisk, tell her the chicken was good. And I know. Asterisk. I stood at my window looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Lumiere was finishing its dinner service. The kitchen was winding down. Gabrielle was opening wine for the last tables. My restaurant. My business. My life. Built one dish at a time, one customer at a time, one quiet decision at a time. And now my family knew. That was going to take some getting used to. For all of us.